What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Black, your internet's relationship and breakup coach. Today's topic: your ex is secretly watching you from a distance, even though they are choosing to be silent, even though they are choosing to ignore you right now and hurt you. They're not being considerate of your feelings. If you're struggling with this, I want you to watch this video. I promise you'll find it helpful. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling worried, just hang tight, pay attention, and make sure you apply the things that we talk about. And again, you will find this helpful on your journey. Now, without further ado, let's just jump into it. Now, when it comes to love and relationships, there are two main ingredients that causes us to choose the person that we're going to be with, that also causes us to stay. So it's almost like your favorite meal that your grandmother used to make when you were growing up. Like, whatever it is she used to put into it, right? Her secret ingredients. Without that thing, right, it just didn't have the same effect. It didn't have the same pungency. It didn't taste the same, right? This is the same je ne sais quoi that is required to make us fall in love with someone. To have those feelings, those two ingredients must be present. Ingredient number one is called attraction. Now, attraction is as simple as when you walk into a bar, you see a girl from across the room. She doesn't say a word, but something about her aura, something about the way she's just standing there, talking to her friends, her smile, the little wrinkle or crinkle in her face, the way her teeth lights up the room. There's really nothing specifically about her. But again, her energy just draws you to her, and you're like, I have to get to know her, right? You're willing to walk away from your friends and say, hey guys, I'm gonna be right back, to go say something to her. Attraction is very intoxicating. There's instantly chemicals released in the brain, and it can feel like you're on drugs. Now, some people have termed this situation as limerence. These are the early stages of meeting someone, where you're drawn to them, you're infatuated by them, and they can almost do no wrong. So attraction also causes us to overlook red flags. It causes us to minimize the bad things about someone, right? It's not logical. A lot of times it's not sensible. It may not even be practical. I've heard about people that match with someone on a dating app and they're like, I'm going to move countries just based on what this person looks like, just based on those early conversations, the vibe, the energy. And maybe you had this type of connection with your ex. I'm talking about a one-of-one, something that hasn't been replicated with anyone else before. And your ex probably felt the same way. When attraction is strong, again, it incentivizes us to really be drawn to someone and to overlook certain things. Now, the second key, the second part of the ingredients is called attachment. Now, attachment is very important because attachment is how we do relationships long term. This is what caused you, to respond in the way that you did to your loved ones. Like maybe your parents were very affectionate. Your parents made you feel safe. And so maybe you have a secure attachment style. Now, sometimes you grew up with people that may have been toxic. They may have been insensitive to your feelings. They may have, talked down to you, disrespected you. And so some of those things may cause you to have a hard or tough exterior. And now you have more of an avoidant attachment style. But attachment is necessary for us to design and build a relationship with someone. It must be present, or else the relationship is just going to be fleeting. So you have attraction and attachment. Now, for the vast majority of people, your ex included, The reason why we leave the relationship is because we lose attraction. This is the distinction I want you to understand, is that just because your ex left, it doesn't mean there's zero feelings. It doesn't mean that they do not care at all. It means that attraction has dissipated. Attraction has reduced. And let me explain it to you like this. I want you to think about going to work every single day, thinking about how work has different responsibilities. You have to talk to your employer sometimes. You have to talk to angry clients or customers. There's literally hard mental things that you have to do, sometimes hard physical things that you have to do. Now imagine all of those things existed, but you are no longer getting a salary. Right? Because attraction a lot of times feels like the juice of the relationship. It feels like the energy, the vigor. Once attraction starts to go down, it seems like the relationship is zero benefit and all work. Now, ideally, you want to be in a relationship where people are willing to struggle through the hard times. People are willing to put in effort. People are willing to sacrifice. And your ex wasn't willing to do this because in their mind, they were no longer getting what they were looking for. This is why attraction can be very misleading. It can be very dangerous because sometimes people mistake a relationship for an amusement park. People think that you're always going to be on the high of the roller coaster. Things are always going to be zooming and going fast and passionate and exciting, and it's going to be filled with yells and screams of passion and enjoyment, which again brings us that satisfaction. But the moment those things have gone, the moment those things are fleeting, your ex is feeling like they're not being paid a salary for their effort. They're feeling like they're not being compensated for their time, energy, and affection. And now, again, the relationship looks like just work. And so they break up with you. Now, remember, there's two things that happen. You know, when someone loses attraction and walks away, going no contact is the only option. You can't just watch the videos, like identify with it, understand the message, understand the lingo, and not do no contact. No contact is vital. You must do this. And so when you go into no contact, what happens is that your ex's attraction for you starts to go up. Why is this? They say that scarcity will always create value. And that's the truth. When someone is taking you for granted, and this is what your ex did, if you're the type of person that loved them out loud, you loved them passionately, you have already worked on your own triggers, you've worked on your abandonment issues, you've worked on your own trauma. So you met them in the relationship from a more stable, holistic place. So you knew how to love them properly. And even when the relationship was not as exciting, you still showed up. Even in times where they weren't as loving, even in times where they weren't as affectionate with you, you were still there for them. So when you remove yourself from the equation, when you stop trying, you stop making excuses for them, you stop diminishing your own self and your own value to make them happy, right? Instantly, because you're scarce, you've removed yourself, their attraction for you goes up. Now, the second thing that happens, remember, there's still an attachment. As human beings, we are social creatures. We are wired to do life together. If you look at, before we were in the modern age, in homes with, running water, electricity, Wi-Fi connections, people lived together in communities because community meant we had access to survival. We would go hunt together. We would go fish together. We would work together on the land and farm the soil, right? And hunt antelope and fish. All these things were done as a community. And if you were ever discarded from the community, that meant you were in danger. You may not survive. So we would attach to the people in our communities, and every time there was separation, your brain would be triggered to do something to bring you back to the community to make you safe. This is why when you look at a child, right, when they're separated from their mother in those early stages, when they're still nursing, the child starts to scream, the child starts to cry. Okay, so these internal wirings are still present in every single human being, and your ex is no different. So when they are separated from the object of their attachment, their brain is wired internally to do something to bring them back to the person they were attached to. Now, sometimes your ex will look for things to distract them, to numb the pain. They may go out more. They may party with friends more. They're in the streets more. They're posting more frequently to distract from the internal pain that they're feeling. Remember, this is primal. There's no exceptions. Your ex is not too cool to have these feelings. And so because of this, because of those triggers, they are going to be watching you and wondering what you're doing and wondering if they made the right decision. And so what's likely going to happen is you're going to start to see and experience breadcrumbs. They're going to start doing things to get your attention, watching your story. Now, let me be clear. No contact gives you the opportunity to reevaluate your ex, because I'm not here to tell you to fix things with just anyone. You want someone who is willing to put in the work, someone who is willing to apologize for the mistakes that they made, someone who will not take you for granted. So just because your ex is watching your stories and showing you some signs, do not make the mistake of thinking that this means it's time to go chase them. No, they must suffer the consequences for what they did. They must learn from this experience of taking you for granted, and so they can do better in the future. Now, if you had that, like I said, chemical reaction of an attraction experience with your ex, maybe you overlooked some red flags. Maybe there's actually things about them that make them not a suitable partner. There's a saying I heard a long time ago that said, you'd rather recognize you walked into the wrong room, like you opened the wrong door, than to stay in that room permanently. It's better for you to recognize, hey, I'm in the wrong place, open the door and go find another door to walk through, right? That's a better scenario than to stay in the room waiting for things to change when you're in the completely wrong place. Anyway, this is why your ex is watching. I promise you they're doing this. They're breadcrumbing you. They're showing you signs. It means that attachment is working on them. They are triggered, and that attraction is starting to grow because you've removed yourself from the equation. Okay, let them come all the way. Let them come full circle. Let them reach out to you directly. And that's the only way you'll consider having a conversation. And especially after you've reevaluated them and making sure that they are good enough for you. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, please drop them down in the comment section below. If you want to talk to me about your situation and your breakup, click the first link in the description. I'll be happy to talk to you and walk with you on this journey. I promise you, you will get through this. Things will get better. Hang in there. If you haven't already, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the future videos that I put out. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.